Shalom, everyone. I have a special update for all of you. It's from the book of Matthew, from the Aramaic New Testament. It is fascinating when we read the holy books in the original language, um, especially Hebrew, and also some Gospels of the New Testament in Aramaic, that is a sister language to Hebrew. So in chapter 3, John the Baptist was preaching repentance, and people were coming to him to confess their sins and to get baptized, and he welcomed them all. But then some of the Pharisees came to him, and also of the Sadducees, and it says in the Aramaic text, many. But before they approached him, he called them brood of vipers. This word is very interesting because in the Aramaic it says akkadian, and the root of akkadian is akkad. Very interesting. So what is akkad? In another place in the Bible we find that word in the Hebrew Bible in Genesis, and it says that akkad was the beginning of the kingdom of Nimrod. Actually, the Akkadian language was the main language of the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonian Empire, an ancient empire that was involved in black magic, witchcraft, murder, bloodshed, idol worship, pretty much the personification of what the devil is. So it's very interesting that John the Baptist would call them, brood of vipers, and in Aramaic, the root word of the word vipers is akkad, which is the same word of akkad in Genesis 10 that talks about the Akkadian culture or the Akkadian Empire. So why is the word akkad means a snake and also means Akkadian? Because the Akkadian civilization, it was the civilization that the devil set up to destroy Elohim's people, and is like the counterfeit. In the Bible we had Jerusalem, it was the holy city. The pagans, they had Babylon. We worship the Almighty in Jerusalem. They worshipped zillions of idols in Babylon. They had their law, we had our law. So it was like the counterfeit. Now, it's very interesting that in archaeology, the oldest inscription of any language that they found, it was written in Akkadian or ancient Babylonian, which is a sister language to Hebrew. Actually, the Akkadian language was created a few hundred years after Noah came out of the ark, and that's when during the days of the Tower of Babel, Father sent confusion. There are, if you know Hebrew, there are hundreds of similarities between Akkadian and Hebrew, just like Umu is mother, in Hebrew is Ama, Abu is father, in Hebrew is Abba, Beit is house, in Hebrew is bed, and I can just quote hundreds of similarities. So the Akkadian culture was the main culture for black magic and idol worship for so many centuries. And their language, according to archaeology, the oldest inscription ever found of any language was in Akkadian. So that proves, since Hebrew is even older, that proves that Hebrew is the oldest language in humanity. And also that proves that humanity spoke one language once upon a time. And then, according to archaeology, around the year 2200 BC, that's when all of these different languages began to spread, and that kind of coincides perfectly with the timing of the Tower of Babel, a few centuries, 2-3 centuries before Abraham. It's pretty fascinating. Now, I also want to share with you something very interesting about the king of Assyria, Sennacherib, this brutal king that came against Israel, and he was judge. Now in his biography, there's something pretty interesting. You can see here that, one second, he was born in a place called Nimrud. It's very interesting. So Nimrod is connected to Nimrod in the Bible. And that place, Nimrod, was discovered in the late 1800s. It was in the late 1800s where some European archaeologists went there. Nobody had a clue that city ever existed, but as we approach with more information and more technology to the modern age, people begin to discover fascinating facts in the Bible. So that's all for today, and thanks a lot for listening.